Vansi vibhusitakara navanirdabhat pitambara darunabimba phaladarosta Purnendu sundara mukha Arvind netra Krishna param kimapi tattvamam na jane Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Divine souls, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Gurudev. We have been going through chapter 5, and last week we covered this verse 12 of this chapter, in which Bhagavan talks about two groups of people, one who are yuktaha and others, he called them ayuktaha. Those who have the knowledge of the self and are one with Bhagavan, and the other ayukta, who have no knowledge of the self and far away from Brahma. Here in this verse, he talks about a yukta karma phalam tattva. He is not getting associated with the karma phala. He gives up the karma phala, the fruit of the actions. And if that is so, he attains what is called shantim, that is of naistikim, that is everlasting peace. On the other hand, an ayukta, because of his involvement with the fruit of action, he is not able to get peace of mind. He gets attached, remains attached with samsara. This we have discussed last week. And I've also talked about shantim and sukham, they go together. If you have a peace of mind, you have happiness. If you have no peace of mind, if there's no peace, there cannot be happiness. And that what Bhagavan describes in verse 66 of 2nd chapter, when he says, Nasti buddhir yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayata santi asantasya kutah sukham. Ayuktaha, he has no knowledge of the self. He remains detached from Lord, and that person, he does not have peace of mind. And if he has no peace of mind, how he can have sukham, peace, happiness? Now this yukta and ayukta has also been beautifully described in a very simple way by Swami Ramakrishna. Swami Ramakrishna, he is from Bengal, as you know, and in Bengal there are a lot of ponds, and in the ponds there are a lot of fishes, and Bengalis are very much associated, the life of Bengalis go very much with fishes there around. They love fishes. Now, Swami Ramakrishna, in order to explain to his devotees, who were also mostly Bengalis, they could realize the examples set by him, and those examples have something to do with the fishes. Now, he describes this yukta and ayukta and put them in 4 categories. And dear devotees of Lord, you all know we are all in this world at various stages of spiritual development. Some may be ayukta already here, jnani, or other extreme, that ayukta. You remain oblivious of the presence of Bhagavan. So there are these 4 categories Swami Ramakrishna describes. He says, a yukta, the one who is knowledgeable, who is jnani, if somebody tries to fish out using the net, the fish is able to get alarmed and realizes immediately that some problem is going to face. And in order to avoid that problem, the fish gets it immediately, this knowledge of the danger, and runs away, avoid that danger, and does not get into trap. So that is the knowledge of jnani, who is yukta, is easily dissociate himself from sansara, does not get involved in the objects of sansara, remains uninvolved with sansara, and once he is away from sannyas, that is, he is not associated with the worldly things, he remains free. And he also knows that there is a danger if he gets himself involved in the worldly affairs. So that is the stage of yukta, who is knowledgeable, who is a jnani. The second level is that of karma sannyasi, who has not yet reached that level to be one with Brahma. One still is sannyasi, he has attitude of not getting distracted towards world, but he is still not reached the climax level. To that group of people, Ramakrishna Paramahansa says that even it get entangled in the net, because of his attitude, because of his involvement, because of his practice, he is sannyasi, he is able to set itself free and not get trapped. This third level is that of a karma yogi. That karma yogi realizes that it has got entangled. But then he keeps on working hard. All karma practices of karma yogi, we have gone through what are the practices a karma yogi has to do. And with the practice of a karma yoga, that fish is able to, at the end of it, working hard, gets free and succeeds in getting out of the net. While ayuktaha, that category of fish which remains oblivious of the entangle, even if it gets into the net, it keeps on biting on the bait which is there in the net and remains happy till such time the time comes for it to be picked up by the fisherman and ends that life. So the 4 categories, this is very much in tune with our state of affair when we are involving ourselves to the world. Sometimes doesn't understand what is the problem, and we run into the problem and remain so involved in it, sometimes remain happy, and pangs of sansar goes into that. Now, based with that, we have there is a practical way how to remain in peace, how to attain peace, how to be happy. And in practice, these are the things which one can bring into the practice in life. And again, these are again practices which one should, if you are a sadhaka, if you are a mumukshu, if you are trying to liberate yourself from banks of sansara, then one should practice all this, should bring into practice all these that has been mentioned in this slide. I will request you all to kindly, these are the very important verses which has been mentioned here. And if you make note of that, and at home, when you go back, look into these verses, dive deep into the meaning of the verses, realize the meaning, grasp it, and bring those into practice. These are very, very practical things. These are not theory. This is not some sort of just practice of understanding knowledge. It is one which one should bring into practice in everyday life. Now, one can be at various stages, and these are the stages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages have been talked about. How to take one step after another if you want to finally attain what is called eternal peace. It is not in part. You do not attain peace in part. Sometimes there is peace and sometimes there is harshness. You have to have eternal peace, everlasting peace. And how you can do that? Now, everybody knows that if you are following the path of adharma, unrighteousness, and other is path of righteousness. Adharma, say dharma ki or. If you are on the path of unrighteousness, of course, you will never be able to have peace of mind. You will always be unhappy and suffering. So there is this very important part of life is that we all know that one should not be dishonest, one should not say lie, you should not practice one thing which hurts somebody. These are the things which we are knowing. But what happens sometimes, even if you are knowing that, even if you have the knowledge of that, in practice, something else happens. In practice, you may not like to tell lie, but you do come into face a situation where it automatically comes from within you and you tell lie. A very common thing is, which everybody knows, we have been talking about, each one of us very well know. An example has been mentioned. You have a friend, you have a neighbor who is a good friend of yours, and you both go to temple for evening aarti every day. So whenever time comes, you join together and go for the aarti in a temple. Now one day cricket match is going on and you are very much involved in the cricket, and you and your wife and your son sitting in the drawing room watching a cricket match, you're involved. And your neighbor friend comes and knocks at the door. You realize that he has come to take you to the temple for the aarti. And you tell your son, you tell him that I am not here, I am not at home. This is a lie. You want to avoid going to the temple then because you are involved in the cricket match. You could have avoided some other way, but somehow or other, from within, you say something which is not correct, not right. And the worst part is you do not even realize that you have said something which is not righteous, which has acted something which is not correct. This mistake committed by us, we perform these mistakes, we carry on these mistakes and do not realize. Once you shout at somebody, you know that shouting at somebody, you are angry, you eat something which is wrong. All these things you commit, and not that you don't know, you know that this is not the right thing to do, yet you commit that. And after commit, you don't have repentance for that. This is the adharma. This is the unrighteous way of life. This must be avoided. As for, you must remember, we must, each and every act of ours is registered somewhere, is registered at a place, in खाता में आपका नाम लिखा जाता है वहां. आपने गलती की, once you have committed a mistake, you will definitely get the reply. उसका फल तो मिलेगा ही. आपने कर्म किया, गलत काम किया आपने, उस गलती की सजा आपको जरूर मिलेगी. These are the laws of karma, which is perfect, 100% perfect. Every action has a reaction. Every action will have its consequence. So do not feel that by in a joke you have said that you are not at home. Tell the son that I am not at home. You have avoided going to the temple because you are engaged in the cricket match. Don't think that that action of yours will go unpunished. And when some punishment comes, then you blame Bhagwan. मैंने तो आप में आरती करता था. Every day I was going to the temple and praying and आरती. Why this suffering has come to me? No, you have forgotten that you did commit mistake and it didn't register you. We did not think about it. So it's very important for us to realize day-to-day life, every moment we face issues, and those issues have to be handled in a righteous way. So beautifully Bhagavan has talked about that in verse 24 of chapter 16, where he says, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Vyavasthitau Gyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartumiharhasi. Beautifully explained, Bhagavan says. O Arjun, Tasmat, therefore, Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Vyavasthitau. What is the karya? What is action you have to perform? What are the actions you must not perform? What is right action? What is wrong action? These have been mentioned everywhere in our Shastra, and that is the pramana, that is the baseline, that is understanding, that should be the one yardstick, so that whatever is prescribed, what is good for you, that is righteous. If you have, which you should not give in the pramana in the Shastra, that if there is not Shastra pramana, that you must not carry out. So must remember what is the right thing to do and what is not right thing to do. It is different. Gyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam, having known what is given in the Shastra, Karma Kartur Miharasi. O Arjun, perform action accordingly. If it is given in the Shastra, which is right, we know what are the Nisiddha Karya, Nisiddha Karma. I don't want to go into those. You know all those things. What are Nisiddha Karma? You must not perform those actions. It has been defined so beautifully. We must remain away from those. We must perform according to what is there in the Shastra. It is different matter if you are Duryodhan who said, Janami dharmam nacha me pravritti, Janyam adharmam nacha me nivritti, Tenapi devena hridhi sthitena, Etat yatha niyokte sman nitosmi tatha karomi. Duryodhan, when asked how it is that you perform certain action which is not desirable, should not perform, he says, मैं धर्म को जानता हूं लेकिन उसमें हमारी प्रवृत्ति नहीं है। मैं अधर्म को भी जानता हूं लेकिन मेरा उससे छुटकारा नहीं है। तो धर्म में हूं या अधर्म में हूं, मैं तो उसी तरह से करता हूं। मेरे हृदय में जो बैठे हुए हैं, लुक एट दैट, उसके हृदय में कौन बैठे हुए हैं? दानव, नॉट भगवान। सर्वस्व चाहम हृदय सन्निविष्टो, भगवान कृष्ण बोलते हैं कि सबों के हृदय में मैं बैठा हुआ हूं। लेकिन दुर्योधन के मन में कौन बैठा हुआ है? वो तामसी व्यक्ति था। तो तामसी व्यक्ति होने के कारण उसके हृदय में देव नहीं बल्कि दानव बैठे हुए थे। And that's why he was performing action according to the direction given by Danav. So one should not listen to that. One should try to improve, bring about Satogun, gradually from Tamogun, get into Rajogun, and from there into the Satogun. And then you will be able to have the reaction from within, which will be always right. Now, that is the stage everybody has to follow, must not perform unrighteous action, must do the righteous one. Then the next stage comes when, even if it is a righteous action, you should not just confine action for yourself. It should not be sakama karma, that should not be for your own selfish motive. You must perform what is called unselfish karma, niskama karma, and that is the one prescribed in Karma Yoga. And you all know very well the verse 9 of chapter 3, Yagyarthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. These are the wonderful verses of Bhagavad Gita. We must remember that and bring it to practice. When we practice, are we practicing what is called Yagyartha karma, or are we performing selfish action? If it is selfish action, then you will not be able to move up and you will not have this eternal peace. In order to have eternal peace, one has to perform action, what is called unselfish action, which is free from attachment and aversion. Raga dos, raga dves vimuktesu vishaya indriye charana. So many verses in Bhagavad Gita talking about getting rid of this raga attachment and sangha attachment and aversion or dves. Raga, sangha, iksha, dves, all these things must be, they are evil. They must be, you must get rid of that, must not perform action with raga or dvesa. That will be the one form what is called Karma Yoga, and that will lead you towards peace gradually, which will be lasting ones. Then the next, even we are doing a karma yoga, there has to be association of bhakti in it. That is, although when they are performing action, there should be thoughts towards Bhagavan. Bhagavan ko, we have gone through this verse again last week, and several times we have gone through this verse. Yat karosi yad asnasi, yad juhosi tadastat, yat tapasasi kaunteya, tat kurusam adarpanam. Several times we have gone through the verse. But must not only remember that, but we must perform action and make use of that knowledge that we have to surrender ourselves. अर्पण करना है भगवान के चरणों पर, तब करना है. This takes me to this thinking about going to temple. अगर भगवान के साथ भक्ति है तो आप घर बैठकर भी भक्ति कर सकते हो, but going to temple has been the tradition of our dharma, our Sanatana dharma. Going to the temple has been the tradition because it has got tremendous advantage. Remaining in the house, remaining in the environment where you are facing the world. But as you even think of मुझे मंदिर जाना है, that thought itself brings your bhavana into sattvic stage. You will not then think of wrong or bad things. You think that you are going to temple. When you think of going to temple, you think of taking some prasad. For whom? For Bhagwan. You are not taking that for yourself. You go to market, fine. You buy things from market. For what? You bring your things from the market for your eating yourself. You don't think of Bhagwan then. But the moment the thinking of Bhagwan comes in your mind, you think Bhagwan के पास मुझे चढ़ाने के लिए ले जाना है, उनके चरणों में समर्पित करना है. That thinking comes in the mind, and with that thinking you walk. When you go there, when you make use of your feet, you using your feet to go to the temple, each and every action of yours is sattvic. Each and every action, from thinking to making use of your hand, move use of your feet, you move of your vehicle, all these things are sattvic. And when you go to the temple, what an environment there. When you go there, even the worst kind of people, when you go to the temple, you get some serenity there. How much those who has gone to Geeta Dham and don't go, what kind of the moment you step into the premises of Geeta Dham, what kind of environment you see there, what kind of feeling you have. It is not an ordinary feeling. That is the feeling you want to have all the time, 24 hours a day. We engage ourselves in the worldly affairs. But think of Bhagwan. When you think of Bhagwan, you go to the temple, you bow your head towards feet of Bhagwan, you have darshan of Bhagwan. What kind of environment you get there? It is not a joke. You see millions of people go and throng to temple. There is statistics say 2.37 crore people, devotee, go to Tirumalai every year. 1.37 people go to Vishwanath temple, go to the temple, Vaishnav Devi temple. These are the places of worship. Why people go there? And talking of getting something, yes, Chaturvidha bhayante mam jana sukrutano Arjuna arto jigyasu arthati. Fine. It is, one may say that you are going to temple, what you are going to tell, you asking Bhagavan for something. It is also a good devotee, a bhakta who is of a category which is much better than a person who is running away from Bhagavan. At least he is what is called Sukritano. They are not Duskritano. Bhagavan has divided humanity in various categories. One of the categories he divides, he says, Sukritano, Chaturvidha bhajante mam janah Sukritano Arjuna. Those who are Sukritana, they वो भजते हैं. उन भजने वालों में जो हैं, जो मुझसे मांगते हैं, उनको मैं देता हूं. एंड ये भगवान देते हैं. भगवान के को चरण में जाता है आदमी, भीख मांगता है तो भगवान से भिक्षा मिलती है. ये इसमें कोई दो, भगवान खुद ही दिलाते हैं. I think I have got a verse there. भगवान से यो यो याम याम तनुम भक्त श्रद्धया च्युति मिक्षति तस्य तस्याम चलाम श्रद्धाम तामेव विदधाम्य हम। भगवान श्री कृष्ण ने गीता में कहा है, गीता में भगवान ने कहा है कि जो जो भक्त जिस जिस देवता को, जो तनुम भक्त, हमको भक्त हम हमारी पूजा करते हैं ये बात नहीं कहते हैं। भगवान कहते हैं जो जो भक्त जिस जिस देवता की पूजा करते हैं उसमें जो उसकी श्रद्धा होती है, उस श्रद्धा को मैं उसमें डाल देता हूं। नॉट दैट ही कम्स टू मी, he come even if he goes to X भगवान which ही उसको मानता है, भगवान उसको देते हैं और भगवान उसमें उसको तिलन कराते हैं, उस श्रद्धा को उसमें और बढ़ाते हैं। So that is the thing which one has to inculcate, thinking about Bhagwan. When whatever action you perform, each and every action has to think of dedicating to Bhagwan. पवित्र हो जाता है, जितनी भावना आपकी उसमें आती है वो भावना आपकी पवित्र शुद्ध हो जाती है, पवित्र हो जाती है। आप जो भी खाना खाते हैं वो सब खाना कभी आपको विकार नहीं पैदा करेगा, कभी आप में आवश्य नहीं करेगा। That is the level that should one calculate. What is Bhakti Yoga? Then we go one step above that. क्या हम, when do we for a moment think, sit down and think of nothing else? You think of absence of mind. You drop everything out. Drop from the mind for a while. Nothing is there in the world. You don't have idea of anything around you. No hear, nothing comes to your ear. You don't see anything. You know all your senses are concentrating towards mind and mind is concentrating on Bhagwan. अगर आप शांत होकर के 2 मिनट बैठें, 5 मिनट बैठें, 10 मिनट बैठें, gradually increase your association with Bhagwan. You mind away from sansar, away concentrated towards Bhagwan, you will see the pleasure. That Bhagwan जो eternal peace की बात कर रहे हैं, शांति मापनोति नैष्टिकीम, that भक्ति और ध्यान, भक्ति के बाद जब ध्यान में आप आते हैं, आप देखेंगे, if you practice this for some time, you will find even without your knowledge, you will start laughing. Without your knowledge, you will have such a pleasure within you. That experience of pleasure is beyond imagination. You cannot imagine that. That must be practiced. Every one of us, we are all dedicated towards Gita. We are dedicated towards all the righteous actions as prescribed, and we follow that. If with that, we must add on this part, this is number 4, you drop the mind for a while. You think of absence of mind, dhyana yoga. And then, of course, gradually you realize Brahma. That is, I think I have crossed my time. I have been told to stop 10 minutes before. I'm sorry I have taken much more time, but I will stop here. Thank you very much. Jai Sri Krishna. I will repeat this again next week because these are the things, practical thing. Every one of us must practice. It is not just for sake of knowing it. If we know that meditation होना चाहिए, meditation क्या होना चाहिए? How to meditate? How to sit down? How to concentrate? What is the absence of mind? And how you can able to distract yourself from the worldly things and get towards Bhagwan and get internal peace. Thank you very much. Jai Sri Krishna. Jai Gurudev.